LeBron James has to be aggressive. I'm only talking about playoffs. I'm not talking about right now. Come playoff time, he has to maintain his level of aggression every single game. Do I think he could do it? Yes, because I think LeBron knows if he doesn't, they will not win the championship.
You talk about playoff time. We agree about that. He's not going to have it in the tank in the playoffs. His body will break down in the playoffs if he keeps this up. 35 minutes or so a game playing like this. He's the only real point guard on the team. Rondo is too long in the tooth to be an effective point guard with real minutes. So he has to take control. I get it if they want a real playoff seed, but two things come to mind. One, Steph Curry. The year they won 73 games. Steph, toward the end of that season, and the Spurs were not going to catch them. Spurs had a great year, but they really weren't that concerned about who was going to be the number one seed. They wanted the record, and they admitted they wanted the record. And so Steph was playing fourth quarters of games where they had leads and overtimes. What's Steph Curry doing in OT late in the season in a game that really is not going to change their seeding? What's going on? Well, we want those 73 wins. And what happens, Stephen A? You religiously bring up that I religiously don't bring up the fact that Steph was compromised physically in those finals. Right. But he was. We both know it. Right. Last 5 minutes of the game, 0 points, and LeBron comes back and beats him. That's Steph. That's one example. Here's another example that may be even more relevant here. Kobe Bryant. And with the tragedy recently, I realized we don't really bring up Kobe's name in referring to actual sporting events as comparisons and stuff recently, but I do feel it's relevant here, and it honors Kobe when we talk about stuff like this. But I was doing afternoon drive at the time in L.A., Stephen A., and Kobe Bryant staged a mutiny on D'Antoni's team. He was 34, almost 35 years old. The Lakers had a super team. They got Dwight Howard and Steve Nash to go with Kobe and Powell, and they were supposed to do all these things, and they were floundering. It wasn't working. Kobe staged a mutiny on Magic Johnson's advice, because Magic Johnson once upon a time did that and said, this is the way we're going to play. We're going to feed Powell down low. We're going to do this. Dwight's going to be the defensive captain. And Kobe's minutes, he averaged something like 38 minutes on the year plus at almost 35. That stretch, it must have been over 42, 43 minutes a game.
Which one? Ridiculous. When he tore his Achilles?
Yes.
Yeah,
well, I'm leading up to that.
That's with D'Antoni.
Yeah,
that was about 45 minutes.
I mean, it was insane how much he was playing.
Where it was about 45
I'm on the radio every day saying, I know Kobe's running the show. But D'Antoni, someone's got to put their foot down and say, Kobe, at your age, you can't do this 45 minutes a game. And I kept warning about a catastrophic injury, and sure enough, it happened. Now, they went 28-12 over that stretch. A bad team originally went 20, and they made the playoffs. My point is this. LeBron's about the same age. He's playing for the same franchise. He's feeling a lot of the same pressure, considering he got AD the way Kobe back then got Dwight and Steve Nash. He's feeling a lot of the same pressure to do everything, to just drag this team in. And Stephen A., like Steph in that season, like Kobe in that season, that will be a mistake come playoff time. When you wanted to put his foot on the gas, it won't be in the tank.
Well, here's where I disagree with you. Steph Curry doesn't need to be compared to LeBron James in this sense. Steph Curry's the greatest shooter I've ever seen on the planet, okay? He's the greatest shooter in NBA history, all right? And Klay's right up there, arguably number 2. But let's understand something. Steph Curry always had an issue with his body, physically, the ankle or whatever. And the reality is that he was at a point where he was learning still his body. LeBron James is a master of his own body. This dude knows what he's doing. I still don't have confidence in LeBron from the free throw line. That's a big impediment. But the one thing that I will literally bow down to LeBron about is his knowledge of his body. This dude takes care of himself. He knows what level to push himself to. If there's one player in the entire world that you can trust when you sit back and you ask him a question, can he go, can he not go, how much does he have, how much can he give you? The one person in the world you can trust with that question is LeBron James. And that's all I'm saying.
Hold on, that's fine, and that's why it's curious to me that he's forgotten the way he's made those finals runs in years.
But you brought up Kobe. The reason why I want to mention, because you brought up Kobe, and Kobe and him was different in this sense.
Kobe would go pedal to the metal no matter what.
Not just that, because remember, again, back in the day, listen, I used to argue with Kobe about this, and I don't mean any disrespect. He didn't believe in D'Antoni. So he said, to hell with it, I'm going to do it myself.
No, of course, but he gave it a little time and then was like, okay, I got to take it over.
There you go.
Look,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Here's the next thing, and I don't want to hear about, and I feel the same thing others do about this. You don't want to speak it into existence. But if this happens, it's not because I spoke it. It's because LeBron did it. At his age, as was the case with Kobe, it's not like the Achilles gives you a warning or some catastrophic acute injury like that gives you a warning. It's that no one has played at this level of intensity and this level of effectiveness this deep into their career. Whoever lived, including Kareem, not close to LeBron James. He's the greatest old player, considering how much he's played till now in the history of basketball. By far, there's no comparison to him. This is uncharted territory. When something goes, it's like that.
But if he takes his foot off the pedal, Stephen A., can they keep this position?
They can keep this position in the regular season because there's too many nights where teams either are inferior or they don't prioritize regular season games the way that they should. So that's a given. But the flip side to it, Max, is this. I can't sit up there. If I'm feeling healthy, right?
Yep.
I can't look at myself and say, all right, I'm 35. You know what? I could tear an Achilles when I've never had the injury and there's no indication.
You're right.
There's no.
You're right.
What's he supposed to do?
I'm not talking about him sitting there not playing minutes of his team.
I know that.
This
But what
is
I'm saying, what are he supposed to do?
Okay, I'll tell you. When AD, remember we had AD on the show and he said he challenged LeBron to play defense. Right. LeBron is playing both ends of the floor like a much younger guy. I understand. Look, the Lakers are an excellent defensive team a lot of times this year, not just because of Vogel or AD, but because LeBron, the best player, is setting the tone.
Wait a minute. You ain't been watching enough Laker games because you know he scaled that.
Recently.
He scaled the intensity back defensively. Oh, what? Why, Max? Because he's feeling that the season is waning, and you know what? He's thinking about what you say.
If that's the case, good for him. Recently, he's been scaling it back. He has been, but like just even last night, the things he did in a game where maybe you don't need all of it, he needs to consider, he has to keep his eyes on the prize. You lament the fact that Kawhi does load management. I'm telling you right now, come playoff time, people will be singing a different tune.
Load management is entirely different than pacing yourself. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.